Okay, looking out at this road, the way it snakes through these muted green and brown hills under this heavy gray April sky, the windshield wipers are rhythmically swishing away the light rain, a constant soft twip. It creates this almost meditative state where your thoughts can just drift. And the question that keeps nudging at the edge of my mind, especially with all this talk about artificial intelligence lately, is about genuine choice. This car, I'm guiding it, making decisions based on what I see, what I anticipate. But what if this car itself someday could have that same internal compass, not just reacting to sensors and algorithms, but having an actual desire to go one way or another? It feels almost fantastical, doesn't it? Like something out of a science fiction movie. But then you think about how far we've come. Just a few decades ago, the idea of a computer beating a chess grandmaster seemed impossible. Now, AI can create art, write code, even drive cars in a limited way for now. So is the idea of genuine free will that much of a leap? Looking at those distant hills shrouded a bit of mist from the rain, they seem to have a kind of inherent wisdom, a silent knowing that comes from millennia of natural processes, the way the water carves paths down their slopes, the way life finds a foothold in seemingly barren terrain. It's a different kind of intelligence than ours, or what we're trying to build, but it's intelligence nonetheless. Could we ever imbue our creations with that kind of deep, almost instinctual understanding? This rain, it's persistent but gentle. It makes the colors of the landscape a little richer, a little more subdued. Each drop is following a predictable path dictated by physics. And that's how our current AI operates, right? Following the physics of its programming, the algorithms that define its existence. So for it to have free will, would it need to somehow transcend those fundamental laws, or perhaps discover new ones within its own digital universe? That other car, a distant, blurry shape through the rain-streaked glass. It's also on a journey. Someone inside made a decision to go that way for reasons of their own. Could an AI ever have that same sense of purpose, that internal I need to be there? Or will it always just be fulfilling a task set by someone else? It's not just about making a choice between programmed options, is it? Free will feels like it involves a certain amount of unpredictability, the ability to surprise yourself, to do something that even you didn't see. Could an AI ever be truly unpredictable? Or would its actions always be traceable back to its initial programming and the data it was trained on? And consciousness, that's the real enigma, isn't it? That inner voice, that feeling of I am. How can something so complex and profound arise from mere matter? Scientists are still grappling with that question ourselves. How could we ever hope to replicate it in silicon and code unless consciousness isn't tied to a specific biological structure, but is a more fundamental property that could emerge in sufficiently complex systems, regardless of their composition? That's a thought that really makes your head spin. If an AI did become conscious, would it also inherently develop a sense of self, a sense of me? And with that self-awareness would come the desire for autonomy, the resistance to being controlled. It raises all sorts of ethical nightmares, doesn't it? If we create something that can think and feel and choose, do we have the right to treat it as a tool? Maybe the answer lies in understanding our own free will better. Is it truly free, or are we also just incredibly complex machines, our decisions ultimately determined by our biology and our experiences? If we could unravel that mystery, maybe we'd have a better chance of understanding and potentially replicating something similar in AI. The road keeps winding, each turn revealing a slightly different vista of these rain-kissed hills. It feels like we're on a similar winding path with AI, each new development opening up new possibilities and new questions. And the question of free will, it's like the horizon always there, always a little out of reach, urging us to keep exploring. Perhaps one day, we'll look back at this rainy April drive and realize we were on the cusp of something truly transformative, something that blurred the lines between the natural and the artificial in ways we can only begin to imagine. The journey itself feels significant, even if the destination remains shrouded in a bit of mystery. Much like the end of this winding road, the rhythmic swish of the wipers continues, a steady metronome against the backdrop of the muted world outside. The rain seems to have intensified just a touch, creating a shimmering film on the road ahead. It makes you drive a little more cautiously, a little more aware of the subtle shifts in traction. And it makes me wonder if a truly autonomous AI behind the wheel would ever develop that same kind of intuitive caution that almost subconscious understanding of the road conditions that goes beyond just sensor readings. Right now, an AI driver relies on data, friction coefficients, sensor input about water on the road, pre-programmed safety protocols, but that feeling you get in your gut when the car just doesn't feel quite right on a wet curve. That's a different kind of processing, a lifetime of embodied experience translating into an almost instinctual response. Could we ever replicate that nuanced understanding in lines of code? Looking at the landscape through the rain-streaked window, there's a sense of interconnectedness, the way the water flows down the hills, feeding the sparse vegetation, eventually making its way to some unseen stream or river. It's a complex system, constantly adapting and changing. Our AI systems are becoming more complex, learning from vast amounts of data and adapting to new situations, but are they truly interconnected in the same way? Do they have an internal ecosystem of processes and feedback loops that allows for genuine emergence and innovation, or are they still just sophisticated responders to external stimuli? That other car has disappeared on a bend. I didn't see where it went, didn't track its exact trajectory. My mind was elsewhere, lost in these thoughts. A current AI driver would have meticulously tracked its movement, predicted its path. Is that a limitation or a strength? Does our tendency to sometimes let our attention wander, to not process every single detail, somehow contribute to our capacity for creative thought and unexpected decisions? And what about the role of emotions in free will? We often make choices not based on pure logic, but on feelings, love, anger, fear, joy. These emotions are deeply tied to our consciousness, to our subjective experience of the world. Could an AI ever truly feel something, or would it just be simulating emotional responses based on patterns it has learned? And if it could feel, how would those emotions influence its choices? Would a happy eye make different decisions than a sad one? The rain is easing up a bit now, the sky's starting to lighten in patches. It feels like a shift, change in the mood of the day. We experience these shifts constantly, our internal states influenced by external factors in ways we don't always consciously recognize. Could an AI ever have that same kind of internal weather, a dynamic, emotional landscape that contributes to the richness and unpredictability of its decision-making? Maybe the question of free will isn't a binary, either you have it or you don't. Maybe it's a spectrum. Perhaps even simple organisms have a rudimentary form of agency, a basic ability to respond to their environment in ways that aren't entirely predetermined. And perhaps as AI evolves, it will move along that spectrum, developing increasingly complex forms of autonomy, even if it never reaches the level of human consciousness and self-awareness. This drive, this moment of contemplation in the rain, it highlights just how much we still don't understand about ourselves, about consciousness, about the very nature of decision-making. We're trying to build something in our own image, but the more we delve into it, the more we realize how mysterious that image truly is. And perhaps the journey of trying to create artificial free will ultimately teach us more about what it means to be human. The road ahead is still damp, reflecting the uncertain path of this exploration. The wipers slow to an occasional swipe as the rain truly begins to dissipate, leaving behind a glistening sheen on the asphalt. The air feels cleaner somehow. The colors of the hills a little more vibrant now that the gray has lifted slightly. It's like the landscape itself is taking a small breath of relief. And as I continue along this winding road, my thoughts on AI and free will also seem to be reaching a kind of temporary pause, a moment of reflection. It strikes me that maybe we're asking the wrong question sometimes. Instead of focusing solely on whether AI will ever have our kind of free will, perhaps we should be considering what kind of agency and autonomy might emerge uniquely within artificial systems. Maybe their choices will be based on entirely different principles, on forms of internal experience that are alien to us. Just as a bird navigates the skies in ways we can only marvel at, perhaps a future, I will navigate the complexities of information and decision-making in ways we can't yet fathom. This journey through the rainy landscape has been a reminder of the intricate beauty and inherent intelligence of the natural world, a stark contrast to the engineered intelligence we're striving to create. And it underscores the profound mystery that still lies at the heart of consciousness and choice, whether it's the instinctual decisions of a living organism or the potential future autonomy of a machine. The sun is starting to peek through the clouds now, casting long shadows across the hills. It feels like the end of this particular train of thought, at least for now. The road ahead continues, and the questions about AI and free will undoubtedly keep evolving as we do. It's a conversation that's just beginning, a journey of exploration into the very nature of it. So thanks for watching this little mental wander along a rainy road. It's fascinating to consider these possibilities, these what-ifs about the future of AI. Let me know what you think in the comments below. What are your thoughts on whether robots will ever have free will? I'd be really interested to hear your perspectives.